My name is Kirti Patel, and I'm a Customer Success Manager here at Salesforce. I've been with the company for about 4 years, and I've helped thousands of customers help with their best practices and adoption. So for our agenda today, thanks for joining us. Today's session is going to be based on data loading without the pain. So you've been invited to this webinar because of your usage of the application, and we really see an opportunity for you to leverage the Salesforce app even more. On today's call, we have several different perspectives and options for loading data, and I promise that there's going to be an option for everyone. I'm happy to introduce that I have two co-presenters today. First, Darren Cunningham is joining us from Informatica, and we've also got Mark Russell from WebDawn. And WebDawn is both a Salesforce customer as well as an Informatica customer. Today we're going to discuss why data loading is important, and the goal for today's session is that you know what your options are when getting information into Salesforce. I'll be reviewing some of the tools that you have access to directly through Salesforce, and I've also invited our partners to share their data loading options. So I don't think any webinar is complete without a good analogy, and here's my attempt at creating one. So I think that we could all agree that Salesforce is an investment, and to me it's pretty similar to buying a house. You spend a lot of time researching and analyzing costs, and after spending all that time and energy house hunting, just when you think you have everything in order, you realize that you're just at the very beginning of that process. Now you have to arrange for your move and filling that house up with all the furniture. Furnishing your home is going to make it comfortable and inviting, and you want to minimize all those days that you have sleeping on the floor. I think this is the same with your Salesforce purchase. You want to get it up and running as soon as possible by moving in that data, and that's going to encourage your users to actually use the application. When you move into a new house, you'll take that opportunity to clean and organize, and it's going to be your chance to purge. We'd like for you to use that same idea when moving into Salesforce. You may be moving in from Excel or Act, and you don't want to move in those records that are completely useless or irrelevant. How you move in is going to vary too. So you might decide to hire some movers to alleviate you from that pain of having to pack and unpack and move all that furniture around. Or you might decide that you can do this without the help of any movers. With Salesforce, you have lots of different options. So whichever way you decide to move in your data, there's going to be an option for you. So the key takeaways here are data is going to really drive your users into the application. You can jumpstart your user adoption with bringing that data in, and it's never too early to start. So Salesforce offers a couple of native tools to help with your data import. The first is the import wizard, and then we've also got the data loader. And I just want to quickly run through when you would use one over the other. Both of these are free tools, by the way. So one of the factors that will go into your decision is which edition you're on. So if you are a professional customer, you'll want to take a look at the import wizard because that is available for all editions. If you are an enterprise customer, unlimited, or developer customer, you'll want to take a look at our data loader. The other thing is understanding which objects you're going to be loading into Salesforce. So the import wizard is going to be able to handle contacts, accounts, leads, solutions, as well as custom objects. With the data loader, you're going to be able to import in all objects. The format of both of these tools is varies too. So with the import wizard, this is a cloud-based application. So we're going to go through a demo of the import wizard in a couple of minutes here, but this tool is available directly through your Salesforce application. With the data loader, this is a tool that you're going to have to download and install onto your machine to access. I think that the target user for both of these tools is a little bit different too. So for the import wizard, this is going to be primarily for less experienced administrators or your end sales and marketing users. The data loader is targeted towards a more advanced administrator or a developer. With the import wizard, you're going to be able to import into the fields that you can access through your page layout or your field level security. The data loader is a little bit different in that you can use the user interface. And the user interface is going to allow you to interactively configure and select the CSV files that you import and export. So you'll be able to do all the field mapping of all the field names of in your import file into Salesforce. It can also be accessed through the command line. So with this, you're basically setting up a specific configuration to help automate your data import process. And once you set up that configuration, you have all your mapping and everything set up, you'll be able to do automated data loading into Salesforce. Both of these use the CSV file format. And a couple other points on the data loader is that it's accessible through the API, and you can do batch loading as well. So even if you are an Enterprise Edition customer or above, you may still want to use the import wizard. However, if you meet any of these parameters, you'll want to use the data loader. So first, if you're looking to upload more than 50,000 records at a time, you will want to use the data loader. Or if you need to load into an object that isn't supported by the import wizard. So we took a look at the objects that the import wizard supports, and if you're trying to load something aside from that, you'll want to use the data loader. You'll also want to use this to schedule schedule regular data loads. So if you've got something that you need to do on a regular basis, this is the right tool for you. And then don't just limit your usage. Use the data loader to also export your data as well. And this is a good best practice so that you have your data in order. So defining your process with best practices. First, I think you have to really know what you're loading. Understand what needs to be migrated into Salesforce. There's going to be a lot of information that isn't relevant or is outdated. And remember, the more accurate the information you have in Salesforce, the higher your user adoption is going to be. And this is just going to lead to your overall success. Second, create templates for your data. And you'll want to understand what you're mapping. First, create a list of all the fields from your legacy system, and then create a list of all the Salesforce field names. And this way, you can match that information to the Salesforce field names. And this is going to be your mapping. And then you'll also want to create a template for each of the objects that you import in. And remember, this needs to be in the CSV format. Identify the required fields, and in your file, you might want to highlight the required fields by just making it red and making it easier for you to view. And you'll want to populate that into that template. The other thing is that you'll be able to see where you need to create custom fields in Salesforce. So if you see a lot of information from your legacy system that you want to import in that doesn't map to a Salesforce field, that's where you'll want to create that custom field. You'll then go ahead and populate that template, make sure that it's clean and that you've reviewed it. Now it's ready for the test. So load a couple records, check the results, and then load the rest of the records. Also, go ahead and validate that data. So you might want to create a custom report that shows the record counts of the information that you've loaded. Or you can do a spot check of that data and pull up a couple of those records. Or you might want to create some reports that show you where data is missing or hasn't been totally migrated. And you may want to re-migrate or update that data as needed. So again, I think this is your chance to really clean up data before moving that into Salesforce. One way to create that template is actually exporting it from Salesforce so that it's easy for you to populate. I recommend using naming conventions. So here's an example. Use the date, then use the object that you're loading or taking some action on. And then what is that action? So are you uploading? Are you upserting? What is it that you're doing? And then if you have anything that will help describe what this upload is about. Again, test and upload with a few records before you load all your records. And then communicate that out to your users. So once that data is in, you'll want to make sure that you share that with all the users so that they know that they can start to use the application. And again, don't just limit your usage to imports. You can export your data regularly as well. So let's recall our analogy of moving into a new house. I think it always helps to be organized and move in all those bigger pieces first. So before you move in your fine china, you probably need to make sure you have something set up to put that china in. And the same goes for Salesforce. You should identify any ordering dependencies that you have. So objects may have a mandatory relationship. For example, all accounts will have an owner, and all opportunities will have an account associated with it. And these dependencies are going to dictate the order of how you migrate that data in. So for Salesforce data, you should probably load in your users first. And then those users are going to have accounts that they own. And then opportunities will be related to those accounts. And a good way to identify your dependencies is to look at your objects, see what kind of related lists are there and what lookup fields are there. And that'll give you a good breakdown of what sort of dependencies exist in your application. So where to find some data loading tools? I'm going to be jumping into demo really quickly, but the import wizard and the data loader are both found under the setup menu under data management. And then there's a lot of App Exchange partners out there as well. And if you do a search for integration and data management, you'll be able to find some of these. So I've decided to go through a demo of our import wizard. And again, this is designed for all levels of users. So including the less experienced admins, it's really easy to use and a good way to get a good start on loading data. So let's jump into this. Here you can see that I've created a file to load in a couple of these contacts. So we've got our first name, last name, mailing information, email address. We've got this information in our file. What I'm going to do is go over to our Salesforce application. We'll head over to our setup. And this, you can use this quick find, but I'm going to just quickly scroll down to data management. And then you'll see here that there's a lot of different options for you to use the import wizard, so the objects that you want to, that it supports. The links will be right here. And then there's also a link to access the data loader here. So let's take a look at our import accounts and contacts. And you'll see a splash page here that has some details for the import wizard. I would encourage you to read the steps here. We've tried to highlight as best as possible how to use this tool. So let's go ahead and launch this import wizard. Again, there's a lot of information, some step-by-step how-tos here. We'll go ahead and find that file. And let's leave everything as is. And here's where the mapping comes into place. So, this is going to select which of those columns in the file. And so you can go ahead and do your mapping here. And let's keep all these as is. Again, you'll want to spend some more time to make sure that your mapping is in order. And then let's go ahead and import this file. So let's hit import now. And we go back into our Salesforce account. Should see. And sometimes it does take a little while for the import to go in, but we should see it as soon as it's uploaded. So let me jump back into our presentation here. We have a lot of data loading options out there. So in addition to the Salesforce tools, I'd encourage you to go out to the App Exchange because there's a lot of free data loading options out there for you as well. So with that, I'd like to introduce our partner, Informatica, and Darren Cunningham is going to be introducing their data integration options as well as their new Express offering, which helps you extend your free data loading service from Salesforce. So,
great. Thank you, Kirti. It's great to be here. If you want to just hand over the presentation to me, I'll share a few slides, and also want to introduce Mark Russell, one of our joint customers, to talk to you about the kinds of things that WebDon has done around integration and how that's really helped drive adoption of Salesforce within the company. So let's jump right in. So again, this is Darren Cunningham with Informatica, and Informatica is a longtime partner of Salesforce. We've been working together for a number of years and are really excited to be participating today and being able to talk about a subject that we're very interested in. So I'm going to spend a few minutes talking about how we look at integration and how the kinds of conversations we've had with people like you all on the call today around the benefits of Salesforce integration and why organizations are really seeing this as kind of a critical enabler of Salesforce as well as overall cloud computing adoption. So when it comes to your options, Kirti did a great job going through some of the native tools, the free options that are available with Salesforce. We're also seeing a trend towards web-based data integration or application integration technologies. A lot of people think, wow, this is hard stuff. I need a lot of resources. It's all on-premise software. And I'm here to tell you that things are changing, and there's some great options out there on the App Exchange, and we'll talk about a few here today. But really, in terms of benefits, we talked about adoption, getting good information into that house. I like that metaphor. We've also seen when you connect Salesforce to the enterprise, your long-term success with Salesforce is going to be much more ensured, as you'll have really eliminated silos within the business. Some people have referred to this as swivel chair integration, right? Where if you ever have to key in data into multiple applications, it's time for you to think about a better strategy, a better way of integrating your data into Salesforce. Because ultimately, your objective is to give your users a single view of all of their information. And you really want to derive that value of the CRM and Force.com platform. And one of our customers used this metaphor of an island, and I think it's similar to the house metaphor that Kirti mentioned. So let's go through a couple of ways to think about this. So most important is for you to not to wait to integrate, to really get started. So look at the options that Kirti went through and get your feet wet, right? I mean, the good enough might just be for your specific use cases, or you may realize or decide that you have more complex requirements. You not only want to migrate data, but you also want to keep data in sync with multiple systems. So say you have, it's as if you have multiple houses and you need to keep the information or the furniture, or you need to keep them populated. I should probably stop it with that metaphor. But ultimately, you want to automate this process. You don't want to have to be doing everything manually every time you want to bring more information into Salesforce. You want to have it just there and just really happening and visible to your users, and really, again, driving that adoption of Salesforce. So what we're seeing is a shift towards cloud-based integration, and some of the benefits are very similar to the benefits of cloud-based CRM, and those are adoption. You want to be able to get up and running quickly with an integration service. You need it to be very easy to use. If your integration technology can't keep up with the pace and agility of Salesforce, then it's not going to be something that you'll really adopt and see benefit from. You ultimately want to not to have to use a lot of IT resources, right? I mean, you may be a small organization with very few, if any, IT resources in the first place. So you really want to look for integration technologies that are as easy to use and manage as Salesforce itself. You also want to be looking at things like multi-tenancy, right? So look for the ability to upgrade quickly and get new releases and benefit from the economies of scale that multi-tenancy delivers, as well as subscription pricing. So these are some of the benefits of cloud-based integration, and very familiar to you all as you've adopted and are adopting Salesforce more broadly in your organization. So we did actually publish a white paper with an author by the name of David Linthicum. I won't go through it all here today, but if you wanted to have this to do some research on what to look for when evaluating a cloud integration solution, we'd be happy to provide that to you after today's presentation. It's also available at informaticacloud.com. So speaking of Informatica Cloud, I wanted to do a brief introduction to our service before handing it over to Mark to talk to you about the results that they've seen at WebDawn. So our focus at Informatica with a cloud-based integration service is on simplicity. We wanted to try to eliminate the historical pains of data integration and deliver a very easy-to-use web-based service. So software as a service, the multi-tenancy model, again, very important tenets of our approach. And then ultimately, we're very happy with the success we've seen. When organizations do move towards an integration service, their Salesforce adoption and overall business value is enhanced. And we've been fortunate to have been recognized 3 years in a row on the App Exchange as the #1 data integration solution. So this is a screen that Kirti showed. So as you're searching around on the App Exchange, you want to be looking for the reviews. You want to see kind of the volume of reviews as well as the frequency, very important. And if you are using tools, whether it's in the integration category or in some other category, all of the partners very much appreciate you taking the time to provide your reviews, because it helps not only the partners get feedback, but also helps other customers know where to go when looking for different App Exchange technologies. So our data loader, speaking to the popularity of this topic, Informatica Cloud Data Loader is actually the most popular all-time app on the App Exchange, so something we're very proud of in terms of downloads. So Kirti mentioned we have a new offering called Informatica Cloud Express, and the idea here is we continue to have a free data loader that is very, we'll show you some screens of what that looks like, but we've also recently embedded a subscription billing engine into the service to really deliver a pay-per-use kind of option. So this is really designed for small to medium-sized organizations to get started and to move towards a broader integration platform, which of course a company like Informatica is known for in the market. So bringing together data from databases, Excel files, that's really what Express is all about. So here's what it looks like really quickly. We have the ability to have a single sign-on with Salesforce. So right within the CRM or Force.com environment, you can choose your application. You select Informatica Cloud. Then we make it very easy for you to walk through the steps of creating an integration task. So one of our customers referred to this as, as easy to use as online banking. So we wanted to kind of break it down instead of a developer interface, break it down into a very simple wizard. So you define your task. So in this example, I'm going to load account data from a database into Salesforce. I'm going to do an upsert, and then I'm going to bring the data from what is the source? It happens to be a MySQL database. The target is going to be a specific object. So I'm going to load, in this case, I'm going to do an account, load data into an account object. I could choose multiple objects or custom objects here as well. And then an optional step, maybe I only want to bring data that was from an earlier date. So really limit the data that I'm bringing in the first place. Then a very easy drag and drop mapping wizard. We give you the predefined mappings, and then you can drag things over. Say I'm going to bring this field, drag it over to map it into the target, as well as click a level deeper if you want to get to do some more advanced functionality. So for people who have more, people have said if you know how to do macros in Excel, you'll be able to go to this level and do some expressions within Informatica Cloud, our data loader. So here's where you would perform a complex transformation on your source data before it's synchronized with your target. And you can see what that looks like there on the screen. And the last step is probably the most important. If you remember nothing else from this overview, really the benefit of automation. So you can do occasional pulls of data or loads of data, but what you really want to think about is how can you automate this process so it's just, as a lot of our customers like to refer to it, set it and forget it, right? So have this run every few minutes, have it run nightly. Just automate the process and be able to detect changes automatically. So this problem, this challenge goes away, and you have an ongoing synchronization between these different systems. So with that, I'm going to introduce Mark Russell, who's the IT manager from WebDawn. And Mark, why don't you introduce yourself and your company and take it away from here.
Well, thanks a lot, Darren. Good afternoon, everybody. I'm happy to be here. As Darren mentioned, I am IT manager for WebDawn Incorporated. We are a privately held company. We are a countertop reseller and distributor throughout the Carolinas and eastern Tennessee here. We do both residential and commercial business. You walk into a Lowe's or Home Depot anywhere here in the Carolinas and order a countertop, most likely it's going to be our guys that come out, measure the job, fabricate, and do the installation. We have about a dozen sales reps and specification reps who work with architects and designers in the area on Salesforce, and they're managing close to 5,000 accounts in the area. Last year, we got into a new portion of business for us, Carolina Heartwood Cabinetry. We needed to have some cabinets to put underneath those new countertops, and we're looking to celebrate a big 40th anniversary for us later on in 2012. Anyway, how I got involved with Informatica, my challenge was a couple of years ago it was sort of a twofold thing. We really needed to automate our data uploading process, and at the same time, we were being tasked to reduce costs across the board. I was at a Salesforce event when a fellow coworker had told me about the Informatica product, and I had an opportunity to try out the free demo, and was really amazed at honestly how the set it and forget it technology worked for us. In our case, we have a hosted solution that handles our order processing and inventory management throughout the course of the day, and at a certain time of the evening, we download from that system into a flat CSV file that we need to get uploaded back into Salesforce. Key information for us is, of course, customer address, phone number. We also need to keep an eye on the customer status, a territory number, customers' terms, priorities, and overall sales figures as far as month-to-date, year-to-date, last year-to-date. I was, again, just kind of amazed that once we started using this, how I could thoroughly count on my data being uploaded into Salesforce at a consistent time of either when I wished or on a nightly basis. In our case, we do an upload around 7 p.m. every evening, and therefore my sales reps can count on seeing accurate, updated information. The scheduling tool was a huge boost to me. Besides taking a lot of additional work off of my plate, it was a minimal amount of configuration information to have to worry about, and should we need to add a new custom field, it's a minimal amount of hassle to worry about as well. We had used the data loader option in the past, and again, I was just amazed that with Informatica, it was such an easier process for me didn't have to concern myself with being the uber geek that Kirti spoke about earlier or anything. And at this point in time, it's been running terrifically for us. There was one other feature of Informatica that I really appreciate as well, and that is the error checking that is built into the upload process. I've actually been able to use my flat file on a regular basis to sort of double check the order processing information that my folks on the hosted system put in during the course of the day. At that time, 7 o'clock every night, when I upload my flat file, I get a very brief, easy-to-read report that tells me how many counts were successfully uploaded, how many errors we had, if any, and I also receive a brief, easy-to-read description of what that error is. And in many cases, I can go back to my folks on the hosted system and say, hey, you know, what happened with this particular account here? And I might have come to find out that they may have forgotten to enter a territory number, even an email address might be entered correctly or something, and Informatica is actually helping me catch this information and correct these errors before they become any sort of a problem. And I guess that's about all I've got to say about it, except I think that Informatica was really the right decision for my company. I'm glad we made the switch, and it saved us a good deal of costs in the data uploading process as a whole. And that's it.
Yeah, great. Thanks so much, Mark. That was a great overview, and thanks for sharing your experiences with Salesforce as well as Informatica. So now I'd like to highlight a couple of next steps for everyone, some short-term next steps. I think that hopefully you've got a good chance now to know what your options are. So review your data loading options. You can, do it the old-fashioned way and move in yourself, or maybe you want to be like this woman and have somebody move in for you. Figure out what's going to work best for you and your business. Again, organize and clean your data before loading that into Salesforce. That's going to help drive user adoption and really help with your success with the application. And then communicate that out to your users. Let them know that the data that they're interested in is now in Salesforce, and then it's ready and for them to use.
So, Kirti, I'll take this one to kind of go through some of the long-term thinking on integration. So some of the things that we hear from our customers and recommendations we have, I think you heard from Mark as well. I mean, definitely take the time to evaluate your options. Get your feet wet with some of the free tools. The only option that you don't have is to do nothing here. So it's great that you're attending and you're recognizing the importance of integration. Don't assume that integration is as expensive and complex as you might have otherwise thought. There are now cloud-based approaches. This industry, this market is moving to the cloud just like all other areas of enterprise software. And we're really excited about the momentum and traction we have with Informatica Cloud. Also, build a short, medium, and long-term plan. So you might have very tactical needs to get information into Salesforce, but think through where you're going to be in 2, 3, 5 years from now, and really make sure you're choosing an approach or you're making a decision that will scale and grow with you as your data volumes, as your other applications come online. You do not want to create silos. You want to make sure you have a free flow of information between all of your applications and platforms. And then also, very importantly, if you're looking out on the App Exchange, which we recommend you do, of course, look for reviews. Gather input from others in the community, and really, as Salesforce always talks about, look for customer success, look for references, look for examples, because chances are there are other organizations like you who have similar applications that they need to integrate or databases, and they've used some of the different tools that are available. So bottom line is don't wait to integrate, and you can certainly learn more about Informatica at informaticacloud.com.
Yeah, and I'd say that there's no shortage of resources. All the information that you saw today you can find at Informatica. All the Salesforce information you can find first through your help and training. So if you're logged into your application, you'll see the help and training link at the very top right. There's plenty of import wizard and data loader user guides in there. There's a couple of tip sheets, and then you can always do a search on the specific area that you're looking to find out more about, and do a search and find out what our solutions are out there. And then we've also got an entire Salesforce channel on YouTube. So there's a lot of how-to videos. I know specifically there's a command line video out there, in addition to a bunch of data cleansing and data organizing videos as well. And then take a look at the App Exchange. There's a lot of integration and data management partners, but in addition to that, you can find a lot of data deduping and data cleansing partners and solutions out there as well. And then finally, check out our success at Salesforce, or success.salesforce.com. This is going to be a great place for you to find out about best practices, and Mark attended a Salesforce event and found out about Informatica. So there's a lot of user groups, events, focus groups out there to help with your Salesforce success. So I'd like to thank you, everyone, for joining. The recording should be available